All right, so we have a great lineup today, dear friends of mine. We have Lorri Gifford, who's our speaker. We have Ted as our musician. We're good. We're in good hands. I will be hosting. Justine will be cheerleading. Yay! Okay, so we will start with a prayer. If you'd like to join me with your hands on your heart or tuning in, however is comfortable for you, take a nice cleansing breath. So grateful to center in love. Grateful to center ourselves in trust. Grateful for this holy instant where we are gathering as the two or more, intending to remember the truth, allowing ourselves to be freed from the false, calling forth liberation, expansion on all levels. So grateful for Lorri coming forward, sharing her message. Grateful for Ted sharing his gift of music. Grateful to both of them for stepping forward and being a vessel of light for us. Grateful to everyone joining, knowing you could be doing a million different things. Grateful for you being here, being our audience. We are just giving thanks in advance for the healing, the insight that comes when we intend to remember the truth. So we relax, we sit back, we put ourselves in the flow of divine order, and we just stay receptive, open for the gifts. Grateful to go forward and share them from our heart with all beings everywhere. In gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with the technical thing. So I am also the technical person as well. Adrian's helping, but so if I have to be slower, that's okay. So grateful to bring Ted forward as our musician today. Grateful to introduce Ted. He's been here many a time. And here's Ted. So on his journey of 70 plus years, Ted has lived a full life.
Don't.
What's
Hey,
that?
nice guy, Ted. You don't have to
That's
read that
it?
whole
Are
thing.
you
You don't have
sure?
to read that whole thing. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm
Well, so I am happy to bring forward nice guy Ted. And you know what it is? You feel the depth of his full life in his voice, in truth. So Ted, you can just share your life story in the depth of your voice. I hand it over to you, Ted.
Hey, thanks.
You're
It's
welcome.
great to be here. It's an opportunity for me to, you know, share some of the things. I write these songs to help me process. I really do. And with everything that goes on, with the wars, that are taking place, you know, the violence that, we see on TV, the conflicts and the things back and forth with the politics. This is a song I wrote a number of years, but it was in one of those times when I was, like Angela's prayer, developing my trust, putting my trust into where it belongs. And so this is what the Spirit told me to share for this opening song. Oh, heaven help me, for you know who I am. You're my maker. I'm lost in this land. Heaven help me. In your divine plan, wouldn't it be helpful if I knew where to stand? Heir to the kingdom, a child to the eternal life. Granted to me, formed in your image, in a sinful land, prize of a Savior, and a product of man. Oh, heaven, help me. For you know who I am, you're my maker. I'm lost in this land, heaven help me. In your divine plan, wouldn't it be helpful if I knew where to stand? For you are all wisdom. Now let your Son grace through the Spirit. Thy will is done, follow I will. But I am blind, please give sight to this simple man. Oh, heaven help me. For you know who I am, you're my maker. I'm lost in this land, heaven help me. In your divine plan, wouldn't it be helpful if I knew where to stand?
Beautiful. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you.
I've not heard that one. I love that.
I think I heard it.
Justine's heard it. Beautiful.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, so here we go. We travel deeper and deeper into the heart. So grateful to bring forward Lorri and introduce Lorri. I don't know if I'm just going to say nice gal Lorri, but I'd like to, if I can proceed, perhaps. I'm going to
Say
try.
whatever you would like to say about me. How about that?
Okay. Well, I'm going to read it because for those who have not met you, it's a nice background. It gives some context to who you are. Lorri's been sharing Spirit's message with clients since 1986. She started out at age 20 giving psychic readings as the youngest member invited into the Psychic Center in Rochester, New York. She had the honor of studying and working at the Chopra Center for Wellbeing and served as their spa director and a lead educator for over 4 years. She loves to write, and her book, 90 Days to Learning the Tarot, No Memorization Required, was published by Gifford Publishing in 2014. In 2016, she became part of the Power of Love as both a student and staff member. In 2021, she trusted Spirit's guidance and stepped fully into her role as a teacher of God. She's a certified spiritual counselor through the Power of Love Ministry. Feeling safe while expressing her emotions and asking for what she would like is a life skill she has learned to develop, and she enjoys supporting others in doing the same. Lorri's deepest desire is to show up and be truly helpful while loving and serving whoever Spirit brings her way. Beautiful. Happy to give you the floor, Lorri. Thank you for being here.
Of course. And before we get started, hey, Justine, I have something I wanted to show you.
Okay, she's coming.
So 1 year ago today, we were together. Guess where? I was visiting, and that's where we were a year ago. I love that picture of us. So it was exactly a year ago, actually. So I just thought I would love to share that. So thank you. Oh, Ted, as per usual, last time you were the musical guest, and it was the perfect song that led in. And today it is the perfect song that led in. The Heaven Help Me, and just it so beautifully ties into what I'm about to talk about, because I've been thinking a lot lately about what makes us human. And for me, I've been thinking a lot lately about my preferences and my attachment to outcome. And I've been sitting with that. And it's hard not to with the upcoming election in the United States. This, I can say, is one of those times I'm truly grateful for being a student of A Course in Miracles. It's making me more aware as I go through this of my thoughts, my words, and my actions. And I definitely have a preference. And I've come to realize that preferences are okay. I learn from them. I'm just kind of sitting with the attachments I have to my preferences and how it can get sticky. And also trusting that whether my spiritual path is smooth or sticky, it's all part of my spiritual journey. The Course teaches us about preferences, and preferences, whether they're for certain people or experiences or for outcomes or for political candidates in this case, often stem from our ego. And they can be a source of conflict and separation. Personal preferences influence our experience of what we call reality. And we're encouraged to, from a Course perspective, move beyond those preferences to achieve a state of peace and unity. And I've been thinking about that lately because I've realized I'm starting to realize when my preferences, when left to the ego, left to the preferences that I'm attached to, left to the preferences that I convince myself are the end all be all, the right preferences that when not agreed with by others result in me wanting to push back or block them for 30 days on Facebook, separate me from a higher spiritual reality. And believe me, it is not easy. It's not always easy for me. There's a part of me that revels in the proof being presented that shows that my candidate is better, and chuckles and wants to mass broadcast the jokes made at the expense of the candidate that I don't like. I can be so tempted to post them on my wall, but I've held myself back. I still have that thought. I still feel that hook. And it's also helped me to have good friends that support the other candidate. I've learned a lot about them and what's important to them. Do we agree? Nope. Do I wish that they would take my side? Of course I do. Of course a part of me does. But that's as silly as expecting to go out for ice cream with a group of my friends and getting upset because they don't all get chocolate peanut butter ice cream like me. And what I've been learning through my discussions with my friends that have different beliefs is I've heard both of us utter the same words in defense of the preferences that we hold dear. Those words have been a version of, I don't feel safe if your candidate wins. from both sides. Ding, ding, ding. Fear is running the argument at that point. And fear is the ego's mechanism to create further separation when myself and my friends stand on opposite sides of the issue and we both want to win to feel safe. But I've been thinking a lot lately about where our true safety lies. It's rooted in our belief in God or unconditional love. And when it is, no one can lose. When I'm choosing to argue with my friend that my candidate is better and I can feel safe if my presidential candidate wins, I'm placing my trust outside of myself. I'm going to pause and I'm going to repeat that so it sinks in for me. When I'm rooted in unconditional love, I feel safe. In any moment that I choose to argue that my candidate is going to keep me safe and that's why my candidate has to win, I'm in my egoic attachment. So where does our true safety lie? If it's rooted in our belief in God or unconditional love, no one can lose. And you know, I've had these thoughts lately that if this race, this presidential race, focused solely on choosing the person that supported the policies we believed in, and we could leave it there, it would be a completely different ballgame. What do I mean by that? So, for instance, if one person could say, I prefer his approach to the economy, and the other person could just nod and say, I understand. And I prefer her stance on a woman's right to choose. And we could both nod, go about our day. It would be way different, wouldn't it? It's like being in that ice cream store and being content with my chocolate peanut butter ice cream cone and my friend enjoying their mint chocolate chip ice cream cone, realizing that we both have a flavor we prefer and neither one is better. We each have a flavor or a preference that we're happy with. She's not wrong for liking a different flavor than me, and I'm not wrong for liking a different flavor than her. And I get it. The election is a bit different, isn't it? Because in the end, we're going to vote, and there will be a winner and a loser. And the ego loves that game. And you know what it loves even more? Defending and attacking to win. And we're getting to see all of that. Whenever we see something as better than something else, that is actually a manifestation of the ego's desire to control the situation and maintain separation. That is when the ego is using preference to create division between what we perceive as desirable or undesirable. It reinforces our sense of individuality and it separates us from others that don't believe what we do. They prefer this candidate. I prefer this one. That candidate is saying it's okay for us to have open borders and abortions. I don't feel safe. That candidate was judged to be a felon and is taking away freedom of choice. I don't feel safe. And here I am getting sucked up in the drama. On Facebook, I see people and I hear my friends unfriending each other, unfriending their friends and their families for their political choices. I found myself snoozing someone for 30 days because I've judged their post to be repulsive and mean. Lately, I've been noticing that when my vitriol, my anger is activated in me, and when I want to get snarky and aim it at a candidate I don't like, and I laugh and I try to justify it, I've started to realize more and more the feeling of yuck that I've been feeling in my body because of it. It just isn't sitting right. I'm starting to get that experience of really feeling in that moment what my need to be right is causing in my body. And luckily, I've started to notice that. And when I remember to move beyond my personal preferences, beyond wanting myself, wanting to become part of that and be mean and say things or laugh at someone's expense, I achieve a deeper sense of unity and peace. I'm not going to feel guilty for having my feelings. And when I go up and I get nasty or whatever, I'm going to learn from it. I'm not going to just continue in it, but I'm also not going to beat myself up for it. I'm going to learn from it. I'm willing to learn from it. Because when we have preferences, we are essentially making judgments about what is preferable or valuable based on our perception. And when we want to hold on tight to that, that is what causes duality and conflict. And again, I am feeling firsthand how attached I am to my values being the values that are the most important. This election is bringing up one opportunity after another to either make my ego gleeful because I participate in attacking and defending my position, or releasing my need to do that and finding peace. When I suffer, it's because my need to attack and defend is rooted in the ego's need to maintain a sense of control and separation from unconditional love and from others. By embracing a state of unconditional love and acceptance, by letting go of my rigid preferences, I can align more closely with Spirit's guidance, which represents a higher, unified perspective. Now, I don't always feel loving about the candidate I don't prefer, and I'm willing to release the amount of suffering I'm allowing myself to have around it and my need to judge it. I'm going to invite you all now to just take a moment and close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, and think of something that you have a preference for, that you are strongly attached to. Are you willing to release the suffering that's caused around that. If you're not, that's okay. There's no right or wrong answer here. You will in time. If you are, just take a moment and create a willingness statement for yourself around releasing the attachment to that preference. Choosing to respond to our preferences from a place of love and alignment with the Holy Spirit leads to true freedom. Choosing to respond from a place of fear, driven by ego-based preferences, keeps us bound to the illusion of separation. The good news is we can use preferences for our spiritual growth by transforming how we relate to them. Thank God. We can begin by becoming aware of our preferences and how they influence our decisions and our interactions. This self-awareness on how they're influencing our interactions is the first step in recognizing whether or not our preferences are driven by the ego and fear or by spirit and love. We can then reflect on whether or not our preferences are rooted in the ego's desire for separation and control, or if they align with a higher loving perspective. And remember, preferences that reinforce judgment and separation are ego-driven, while those that promote love, understanding, and unity are aligned with spiritual growth. But here's the thing, I've heard people make, in this political climate, I've heard people say that the other party is wrong for what they perceive as divisiveness and ours is right because we believe in unity. That's just the ego disguised as holding a spiritual ideal. If you're judging them to be wrong and you to be right because you believe in unity and they believe in separation, you're not creating unity with them. It's still promoting right and wrong and separation. And again, just learn from that. The ego is one tricky little stinker. We can still continue to have strong preferences. That's okay. We can use it as a learning opportunity. When we notice strong preferences, we can use it as an opportunity for self-inquiry. We can ask ourselves why we hold these preferences the way we do and how they affect our perception of others and of ourselves. When we take a moment to reveal whatever underlying beliefs we have, we can see how we're limiting our spiritual progress. So, for example, with my candidate, for the longest time, I chose to hold the perception of this candidate being a bully. I had to look long and hard at how that showed up historically for me, what beliefs or attachments I had about myself with that. And that's really when I started to see whatever I'm seeing in another is also a reflection. And wait a minute, is there anything in there I can clean up? Now, sometimes there is, and sometimes there's not. it always helps to be open to self-inquiry when you find yourself, or when I find myself, very attached to my preference. Our spiritual journey is all about shifting the focus from having preferences that are driven by ego to those that are guided by the Holy Spirit or our higher self. Because spirit represents a perspective of unconditional love and unity. So preferences aligned with this guidance will promote peace and connection rather than conflict. Our spiritual journey is about shifting from ego-driven preferences to preferences led by our higher self. And our preferences are the basis for practicing forgiveness. So if you find yourself holding preferences that lead to judgment or conflict, to applying forgiveness means releasing any attachments and grievances you have about or for or regarding that preference. Forgiveness is what's going to help all of us move beyond the ego's limitation, and it will align us more closely with love and understanding. As we work on cultivating a sense of non-attachment to specific outcomes because of our preferences or specific preferences for our desires, we are going to recognize that true fulfillment comes from the state of inner peace and alignment with divine unconditional love, rather than from satisfying our personal preferences. So, in essence, A Course in Miracles invites us to recognize how our preferences can be potential barriers to experiencing true unbounded love and peace that lies past the ego's domain. But as we explore and release our rigid attachments to them and embrace a more open, loving perspective, we can align ourselves more closely with the principles of the Course and experience greater spiritual freedom. So I'm just going to go over one more time how I can find peace in the midst of this current political climate. So I'm going to relate it to that. I can begin by becoming aware of my preference, my candidate preference, and how it influences my interaction. And then I can reflect on whether or not those interactions are rooted in separation and control, or if it aligns with a higher loving perspective. And when I notice a strong attachment to being right, I don't have to make myself wrong or feel bad. I can use it as an opportunity for self-inquiry. And then I can practice forgiveness by releasing any attachment or grievance. So here's the bottom line. If we truly believe that God is in everything and that we can rest in God, we can rest in love, then there's nothing to fear, because it starts with us uniting all the states within ourselves by uniting with God. And to close, I would love to read and share a prayer that's called Clearing the Way for Divine Government. I read this prayer every single day, and it has really helped me be able to show up in a more loving way with my preference. So just taking a moment now, placing your hand or hands on your heart, closing your eyes if you choose. In the name of the almighty presence of God, I am, and through the creative fire pulsating in every heart, we invoke the goddess of liberty, the goddess of justice, the goddess of freedom, the goddess of victory, the silent watcher of Washington, D.C., beloved Columbia, and all of the mighty guardians and cosmic beings who dwell in the etheric complex over Washington, D.C., and all governmental locations around the world. Blessed ones, come forth now and assist us with the most powerful cleansing activity humanity and the earth are capable of receiving during this cosmic moment. We unify our heart flames with the heart flames of every evolving soul's I am presence. Through this force field of light, we invoke the fifth dimensional frequencies of the violet transmuting flame. Blaze, 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 the sacred violet flame in, through, and around all inharmonious actions, all lower human consciousness, and all obstructions of the light that we or any part of life have ever placed in the pathway of life's perfection. Through the divine power of forgiveness and forgetfulness, transmute this discordant energy, cause, core, effect, record, and memory now and forever. Blaze and sustain the violet flame with the power and might of 1,000 suns and the cosmic blue lightning of divine will, power, faith, and authority from the great, great central sun in, through, and around the President of the United States of America and their cabinet today and forever. The Senate and the House of Representatives for the United States of America today and forever. The Supreme Court and all courts of law and all legal procedures today and forever. The United Nations and all of its members today and forever. Through all world leaders and those associated with the governments of Earth at national, state, and local levels now and forever. Through the supreme mercy and compassion of the cosmic I am, all that is, we accept that through God's fiat, the divine qualities of illumination, wisdom, understanding, enlightenment, and truth shall now rule, guide, and protect all humanity. God's will for the United States of America and all governments throughout the world shall manifest. The divine plan will be fulfilled. Through the grace of God, divine government is the order of the new cosmic day for every country on earth. We so decree it and accept it done, and so it is. Beloved I am, beloved I am, beloved I am. Thank you, everyone. I so appreciate you being here today.
Beautiful. Thank you, Lorri. Awesome. I'm floating in the prayer. Thank you so much for what you shared, and we'll take this right where you left it. Just with our hands on our heart, we'll take this further into a continued meditative state. So grateful for Lorri's sharing, grateful for the message to rise above the battlefield. For me, it's like a zooming out, setting our priority to align with spiritual truth, to align with our divinity. Knowing our divinity, knowing our true purpose, our true function in this lifetime. To represent the one who sent us. So grateful for Lorri's sharing to help us in this day-to-day discernment, in this, as she said, just a beautiful opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. So we're grateful for the practice, but grateful to really zoom out and remember that first and foremost, We are here to know ourselves as divine. We are here to know life as in a divine order. And we are learning to trust that we can rest in God, no matter what's happening in the world of form. And so grateful for this divine opportunity to discern, to be what it feels like is down here on the ground in the battle, and being able to respond to fear in a loving way, whether it's our own temporary fear that arises or it's by observing a brother or sister. I related so much to what Lorri shared about reading somebody's sort of fear-based, just what can seem like outbursts, and being like, I don't really want your outbursts in my area. And so for me, though, this talk helped me to say, hey, wait, step back. Who is this brother or sister really in truth? In truth, we are one with them. In truth, they are a divine being. In truth, we all are individuations of God. So being down at the ground level and fighting with our brothers and sisters is not in alignment with our true purpose and our true function. And grateful for Lorri demonstrating we need not judge ourselves if we forget, if we get pulled in. That's a beautiful opportunity to forgive ourselves. And there we are, fulfilling our function to forgive. So we're grateful. This is truly what we've asked for. We've asked for opportunities to forgive. We've asked for opportunities to test our true knowing of who we are, what we're here for. And we're grateful that we can use the power of our mind to bless this election, to bless the government, to bless those beings who must be in some divine inspiration to step forward and be a part of government, because personally, I'm not at all called to even be a part of it. So grateful for them to play their part, and grateful to know that our spiritual path is to know our part. And we are here to be truly helpful. We are here to represent the one who sent us. And the one who sent us loves us unconditionally, knows us as divine, perfect, magnificent, whole beings. If we are truly working for God Incorporated, that is our job description. We are here to forgive and to remember the truth. And so in deep gratitude, we give thanks for this platform, for this gathering, for Lorri, and for all the opportunities we give ourselves, our willingness to reflect. Are we deeply down on the ground fighting? Did we forget what we're here for? Well, let's remember and give thanks for the opportunity to remember. And so we are grateful. We allow Ted to come forward when he's ready, and we proceed. Thank you.
All that I am, all that I can be, all that I am is of love. For all our love's gifts, all is love's grace, and all is here to sing love's praise. Should this be my final day, let it end in thanks and praise. For love is all that we need. For all that I am, all that I can be, all that I am is of love. For all our love's gifts, all is love's grace, and all is here to sing love's praise. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ted. Hits the spot every time. Just hits the spot. This spot that is like, give me some timeless music. Beautiful. So here we go. We get to go into a breakout for those of you who are staying on. This is your chance to share what came up and what I know about being in community with Jennifer, the Power of Love Ministry. This is what really moves us forward, is when we are able to communicate what's coming up for us. How are we integrating this? And for me, it's truly helpful. So we're going to have a breakout for those of you who stay. It's 12 minutes. So just have be mindful about sharing that time, reminding you to listen with ears of love and non-judgment. And it's okay too to just join and listen and not choose to share. All that is perfect. So we are going to head into the breakout. Okay, hold on 1 second. This is where there's some moving and shaking that goes on. Okay, here we go. Okay. And there we go. And so now we can have our time together. Yay! And we get to share more about what spoke to us from Lori's beautiful message and Ted's song. So Ted, you get to start. Nice guy, Ted.
Well, it has been interesting, and I'm grateful for the topic. I truly am. I'm not I haven't been a real big Facebook person. You know, I'm in it. I'm on it because of some of the music things I do and my involvement with Jennifer. And I come from a big family. And of course, besides the politics, you know, born in Detroit, raised in Michigan, and then I moved to Ohio. Well, you know, that didn't go over good with the football fans, the college fans, you know, because it's now Ohio State. You know, we've got boys in Ohio State. Politics is a toughie. And I have in my own family, of course, I've got some very strong positions on both sides. But I have taken that approach, Lorri, that you have to. You've got to bring in what's common. You know, the tough questions that we talk about in politics. You know, the border. You know, the economy. The economy is always a big one. But the ideas of a woman coming into the position to become president, I mean, I am like, yeah. And it's surprising. with my male friends, I just told them, it's like this. You know what? If we had enough good men in politics doing it, we wouldn't have to bother the women. They wouldn't, but they have to step in because they seem like the only ones with common, compassion, understanding, the greater intuition, and they exercise better listening skills, things of that nature. So I kind of break it down, in that fashion, because most people that are taking the strong stand that I find, their heels are dug in. It is surprising how they are, and they don't mind the conflicting push, and the name calling and stuff like that, which I can't live with. So thank you for bringing up the topic, and I am praying for the most peaceful election that we can possibly have. I have this song that I had written back years ago, back when there was a group of men called the Promise Keepers that did we did some things in prisons and stuff like that nature, and I wrote a song that's called Good Men. Good Men will make it so. And I almost wanted to play it, or maybe I'll close with it, but I'd have to make the understanding that I wrote that when this was well before Hillary, or, women were I really think women are the voice of the people that are sitting around the kitchen table. And so that's I gotta get off my soapbox here. Okay, there you go. But thank you again for bringing it up. And I just pray that this is going to be a peaceful election period. We don't want anybody hurt. Okay.
Thank you, Ted.
No, I probably won't get asked back, right? I don't know.
Why? Thank
No.
you for sharing your 2 cents, your what's coming up for you. That's what we're doing here. So thank you. Yeah, I'll share, Lorri, that as I said in the meditation, what this brought up for me was one time I did have like a very strong reaction to a guy I was following. I follow him because he likes juicing vegetables. And for whatever reason, he had posted his political preference. And then people started unfollowing him. And then he posted a sort of reaction to that, which really felt like a tantrum to me. So I was more having an aversion to the tantrum of the people's decision to peace out and unfriend. And kind of when it gets to that point where people are like, go, I don't even want you if you're that. And it was like, so at that moment, I had a preference to block out the tantrums in my sphere, because I'm like, I have one person who has them, and it is my responsibility to help them. But and those platforms where you may not be as thoughtful, if the person was sitting at your own dining room table having a glass of iced tea with you, and they were, you behave differently when there's a distance, and you're just like, I don't want your crazy over here. And I find that just of recent, I feel more interested to really have that neutral position, allowing the as you were saying, like allowing the issues, the differences of opinion to just be there, hold them. It's just that sometimes there's something sticky for us because there's something deep for us to work through. So it's, this beautiful thing of like, okay, we're neutral. We're here to be truly helpful. We're just neutral. Oh, look. And yet it gets sticky when it's supposed to, when there's something for us to work out. So that was my only stickiness so far, because for whatever reason, my personality doesn't really engage fully in this type of thing. I go like intuitively, I just know who I'm feeling good about, and I don't even read much about it. I go like, I know. If I didn't know, I might do some more digging, but a lot of these sort of life decisions I make from, I go right like this, like from this central area that tells me what to do, and I'm clear about it. However, for example, I'm going to be at a reunion with people that I did the Peace Corps with, and I've had experiences of gathering with them where my beliefs were much like the outside view. And then I was like, wow, not always prepared to be the outside person either, which is a fascinating practice because what I ended up doing at that time around COVID vaccination decision making, I like withdrew and didn't want to talk to them because the way they were speaking was just like, oh my gosh, everybody feels the same way except for me. And I feel so on the outside. So it's great. I kind of wish I had that to do over, because it could have been like ooh, spirit, what do? I want to run away. And so, we're prepping ourselves to be in public. We're prepping ourselves to be with people where this will come up, and how do we respond? And at this stage, I feel kind of like you, Lorri, where you're like, okay, kind of like bring it on. Kind of like bring it on. It's already on. But like, let's be in a place of like excited to see how spirit will help us maneuver. That's kind of exciting. So that's what I have to say. If you want to share, Lorri, few last minutes we have.
I appreciate what both of you shared, and I appreciate that bringing up that point of feeling like you're the odd man out when you have a belief, and how you can even just stay clear, because that recently happened. My friend and I were having a discussion about politics on her wall, and all of her friends are all believe what she does. And I had somebody in the middle of my discussion with her, and I trust her. We can have these discussions. And even if she gets upset, I know I don't take it personally, but it's not mean. It's like, I know her, I know what we're going to say, and I've learned a lot just through listening. And another person decided to like just kind of come in and say, so you believe this, and this then. And it was just, and in the past, I would have thought the spiritual thing to do is just to ignore this, but I wouldn't have ignored it. So I responded and I said, respectfully, you don't know me and I don't know you. I feel safe to have a discussion with my friend, because even though we don't agree, we, in other words, it's a discussion. So please don't assume to know my beliefs. You can have whatever beliefs you want, but please don't assume to know mine. And I would have totally shrunk away from that in the past, but I said that, and she actually apologized. I didn't make her wrong. I just said respectfully, you don't know me. Like, and I don't want this to get nasty. Like, so it's a different space to be in, but then after that, I said to my friend, hey, I'm happy to connect with you on the phone and have this discussion. Like, and that's where I did kind of back up. But it's true. It's like, it's never like what I'm learning is how can I say what I would like to say about my preference without making the other person wrong? And it's become a game of how can I do that without, you know, looking at that person and going, WTF? Like, you know, and there is still that part of me inside that goes, WTF, you know, and that's the part I get to go, oh, okay. So, yep.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We're all back together. And I hope that the breakout seemed to be a little tricky. I noticed maybe we had one successful standing breakout. So apologies if we had if you didn't get to have a discussion, but if you did and you'd like to post something in the chat about, or even if you didn't, if you're like to set an intention for yourself based on this conversation as you move into this week and the interactions you may have, feel free to put that in the chat. That's one way for us to hold it for you and magnify it for you. So we will have a time for announcements. We'll have a last song with Ted, and then I'll pray us out. So first, for the ministry, we are just always grateful for anyone who can support this service to continue. You know, I still think of it like the virtual basket going around. So the virtual basket goes around, and we will put a link in the chat if you would like to make a one-time or ongoing donation to support Sundays with Spirit. We're now like almost 4 years of doing this or something, 3 or 4 years. So that's pretty remarkable. You know, I have to tell you, like behind the scenes, that we would be like, Jennifer, what about a monthly service? What about it? But she's like forging with the weekly service. So any support we can get is very helpful to continue a weekly service. I know we've got our Finding Freedom from Fear coming up, our boot camp, and that will start on September 9th. But we've got people rolling in and they're getting kind of set up to start right in September. It's our 7-week curriculum that is covered over a 12-week period. So it's powerful. A lot of people that went into the year-long Masterful Living start in Finding Freedom. It's a really great place to start to get your footing with the ministry, how we do things, and the extensive support that's available to you when you do a program with us. So if you have questions, there are also, you can book an exploratory call if you head to the Finding Freedom sales page. So check that out. I feel like, Lorri, I'm going to turn it over to you to make announcements you have, because I feel like you are on our events page. And so I will bring you on and you can share any announcements that you have. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I mean, the easiest way to reach me is just through my website. So if you would like to, I do intuitive tarot card readings. I also do spiritual counseling, and I do a hybrid. So if you're interested in working through any issues in your own life and you'd like to be in a space that's held with unconditional love, you can check out my website, and I will put it in the chat. And Ted, did you want to share anything about any upcoming things for you?
For those who are familiar with the Power of Love Ministry, I do a men's group, and we meet the first and third Wednesday, and get together for an hour or so and talk about, issues to help us be better men. If you have, they don't have to be, if you have a man in your life, or I'm not going through the list of who's here, but if there's any men out there, if you want to have opportunity to, get together with some godly men, and we just talk about what we face in our daily life. It's just a continuation of our individual journeys, but it just helps to share. I mean, that's what we do. That's what the breakouts, that's what it's all about. And once a month, the first Monday of the month, I also am part of the grief bereavement group, online Zoom. So everything from a loss of a pet to the loss of loved ones. We share valuable little, information that we can, and hold each other in help in dealing with loss and grief. That's once a month, the first Monday. So that's it for me.
Okay.
And as for the song,
Yeah, right.
I know we touched on politics, and those, you've gone into other breakouts. I personally welcome the feminine insight to the political realm. But 30 years ago, I was with a group of men. We went to Washington, and I wrote this song. And I don't get a chance to really perform it that often, but it's called Good Men. So don't take offense, though I don't say, good women will make it so, but good women will make it so. So I want to make sure you know that. But maybe, I just hope you enjoy it. The men of old, they found this land. They fought a war and took a stand. Freedom is what we seek, a free land of liberty where a man can raise a family. Seek the Lord and live in peace. It will grow, it will grow, it will grow. Good men will make it so. Have we all been made blind to the life the Lord has in mind? Are we victims of the silver screen, advertising in pride and greed as pockets are lined with gold in their claim? That's all that can be sold. I tell these men, you can fight greed. Supply the things that we all need. Serve the soul, not just a hand. Take all you need, then feed the land, so man can raise his family. Seek the Lord and live in peace, and it will grow. It will grow, it will grow. Good men will make it so. Now it's a shame to walk this land, see how it is out of hand. Our children no longer safe in the schools where they're forbid to pray. I speak to you on Capitol Hill. You're not there to serve your will. A belief in God, it found this land. You're there to serve the godly man, to see he can raise his family. Seek the Lord and live in peace. It will grow. It will grow. It will grow. Good men will make it so. Good men will make it so. Good men will make it so. Good women too. Good women too. I wrote that song a long time ago.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ted. You had a backup drummer here. You had a,
Hey!
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Lorri. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, everyone who's here up till now. And Justine, grateful for this time to be with you. We can close out with a prayer. Just grateful to be in this community, to share in this intention to be truly helpful, to live the truth, to walk the talk, to be teachers of God out in the world on a mission. Grateful to remember to let Spirit guide us through each and every conversation, all the sticky spots. I'm grateful to affirm together the truth that we are one with our brothers and sisters. Anything we're not able to forgive in the moment, that's our homework. So we just thank Lorri for being here to share the message that was on her heart, and Ted for being open to Spirit guiding him what to share with us. Thank you both for placing us in our heart, helping us to be aligned. And we take this into our week, going out on a mission to truly live, be the love that we are. Thank you all. Thank you, Jennifer, right where she is. We bless her as she's having some time with friends and family. But she energetically still holds this space, and we thank her for her willingness to do that. So grateful for you coming out. We go forward, fortified, nourished. And with this, we give thanks, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful. Have a great
Thank you, Angela, for guiding the ship.
Very easy to do now. Thanks for being here, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.